So, bye-bye.
Here we go for game 2 of this best of 3 semi-final between FPM in green here, the Asian number 2s, versus BONKS in red down the other end of the field. They are the NA number 2s, and it's currently 1-0 to FPM. FPM fighting for a place in the finals, and BONKS fighting for a place to stay in this best of 3. So for FPM, well, I said about Salem's last match, you wait for one and then 3 come along at once. So we've got Ohio, Kremlin, Double Salem, Goliath, Venezia, Daring, Marceau, and Shimakaze for FPM. What have we got for BONKS?
Opposing them from the south, it's a do-or-die game for the NA second-place team. BONKS fielding Yamato and Kremlin. Fronting that with Des Moines, Salem, and the Double Nevskis, same as last game. Well, the Double Nevskis were the same. The other cruisers are different. And then out at the pointy end of the spear, Daring, Shimakaze, and Yu Yang. Still sticking with the Yu Yang and Double Nevsky thing, but yet we're kind of breaking up the crew because already you can see one Nevsky going east, one Nevsky going west.
Yeah, and we are seeing the return to what I was kind of expecting to see on North from the previous teams was Salem's going nose-to-nose on the 9 line because that is something that Salem is just very, very good at with its super heal. It deals very, very well with one-on-one kind of cruiser sort of trading, basically. We quite often see teams being sort of asymmetrical compared to each other with this map. So we've got the Daring, at this time, not Z52, of Whale Biologist going into the B cap. Nothing there for FPM. FPM are sending Shimakaze over to A cap. That's going to be countered by Yu Yang and Nevsky. And then finally we've got Daring of Munan facing off against Todd Howard's Shimakaze from BONKS.
Indeed. Now, you can start to see a little bit of FPM's thought process here, right? They're sending, like you mentioned, the Double Salem. The Double Salems were kind of headed over to the 9 line. One of them, that's Nair, has broken off and is going to work this position kind of north of the B cap. And then, but they are sending one of the Salems and one of the Goliaths over the 9 line. I really like this pairing. I think this is something we haven't seen a lot of. We have seen teams on NA at least use the Goliath to good effect in the event, but maybe not necessarily pairing it up with a Salem because you put 2 of these kind of HE spammy, high impact HE ships on in the same together, and they both are very survivable, hard to get off the board. That could be really nasty for BONKS to have to deal with over there.
Yeah, Goliath's party trick is kind of similar to Salem, so it has that super heal, but particularly it can heal up a lot of Citadel damage. So if this Goliath at any point gets smacked by that Kremlin, it can actually do quite a lot of healing to get some of that damage back. So it can be used with its good concealment and decent range torpedoes, high impact, higher caliber HE, can actually be used to be reasonably aggressive if necessary, but can also be very aggressive with its HE from some range as well. Here comes some AP from the Kremlin. Some just catching the island there. Nope, that's a bit long.
BONKS doing a good job here early, kind of holding Munan's Daring out of the cap, but they haven't been able to convert it. Opposing him with Shimakaze, that's Todd Howard's, hasn't been able to actually pick up the cap yet.
No, Todd Howard's having to duck away there. There's also torpedoes coming, and Munan is coming back in again. And if you're in a Shima, you really don't want to get into a one-on-one gunfight with a Daring, that's for sure. The other Daring, which is from BONKS, is just reversing now into Bravo. The radar of Salem goes out. It's just inside range. Can they actually see? Yeah, Whale Biologist is just spotted by that radar.
They can see Whale Biologist. Azuki put up his radar as well on the south end of the cap, so they've got Munan spotted. I think they're trying to kind of hold him pinned in that position to buy Todd some time to finish bagging, or at least get back onto the C cap. But I think Whale Biologist is going to bag B. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get shells on him in time to do anything about it.
Yeah, there's no one that can get guns at all. 0. And they're actually moving Naya in the Salem. They're actually changing the position over to the what Maltese calls the play button island, because of its shape, I guess. So yeah, we're gonna have to watch this Salem carefully, because if BONKS ever actually manage to get a push up the 9-10 line, that puts Naya in a lot of danger. So this Goliath Salem Marceau group with the Kremlin at the top really needs to look after Naya here.
Ta there with perhaps an ill-advised gun salvo on Munan's daring. He got lit for a while, took about another 4,000 or 5,000 damage that he could have avoided potentially. But you can see BONKS doing a little better job easily here early. 5 minutes gone, sitting on 2 caps, ticking up points, preparing to kind of receive what they perceive as this push down the 9 line. The Kremlin Goliath Salem setting up over here.
The Kremlin, I think it was, did actually manage to get a very good shot on Roselia, and Roselia has now healed up using that massive Goliath heal that I was talking about, up to 43, but did go down to 20-something at one point. So Roselia having to use that super heal. So yeah, you do need to be a little bit careful.
Oh my. On the top end of the A cap, Conhan is going to take some really nice deepwater Yang torps here. Oh, one right under the keel. I thought he was going to take 2, but that last one snuck in right under the screws. As the Shimakaze, that's Word of Warships, is going to contest A from the top end.
Anything on those Shimatorps? Nope, there is a lovely gap right in the middle of those torpedoes. It's always the way, isn't it?
A perfect Yu-Yang-sized gap in that salvo.
Yeah, you see the wall appear, and then you're like, oh, that's fine. I don't even have to move.
Now, Addy is already pretty low on this flank, right? I mean, he's open watering Nevsky with an Ohio and a Venezia at his back. Doesn't feel like a position he can maintain forever.
No, yeah, with Venezia's SAP, I mean, even if you angle, it's still going to be fairly consistent, and if you turn even slightly, you can really catch one of those sap shells or sap broadsides. And that can take, off a cruiser, that can take between 10 and 15k easily. So Addy's going to have to watch forced shells coming and make sure to turn when they're in the air. But at this range, this sort of medium range, that's going to be quite tricky to do.
You can see now the push down the 9 line starting to develop a little bit. They've pulled the Goliath back. They're going to leave the Salem to hold kind of the back door open as they've shoved Noob CV's Kremlin directly into the C cap. That'll start ticking up FPM's first points of the game, as it looks as if BONKS may surrender the A cap. Are they going to get Whale Biologist onto it in time? They aren't. They're going to give up the A cap. Biologist is going to try and get in there and hopefully dodge all this massive Shimakaze's torpedo salvo.
Yeah, with the Nevsky radar being quite a long way away, I suspect that Warships will really stick around to block. Again, there's a gap for Whale Biologist in these Shimatorps.
Oh my!
Being super lucky with the dispersion of those torpedoes there.
FPM losing a battleship already. Conhana going down to a Yamato salvo from Hattie.
Yeah, that's going to be good news for BONKS here.
Oh, it's great news for Addy. If you're Addy, you're super excited right now.
Absolutely. And it's going to enable Hattie to push up even further. Obviously, Hattie still has to be careful of the Shimakaze torps. But Whale Biologist with that very, very wide hydro, while it's on, obviously can do a little bit of screening for Hattie. Yu Yang laying a smoke screen for Addy to push up a little bit and start getting some DPM down on Forced Runus. There's a Salem move going in the middle. Naya has pushed. I'm not quite sure why.
Well, BONKS has picked up on it now. They're turning guns to try and farm some of Nair's HP. I mean, obviously, the HE spam from Balbonk's Nevsky, they can heal most of that back. Curious to see how, kind of what the point of that push is. Go ahead.
I'm trying to see what the reason was, because you wouldn't push the ship into that position without a reason. It's to get cross shots on the Kremlin, but you wouldn't push the... I honestly don't understand what that push was for.
I'm not sure either. They had done something that I really liked, right? Azuki, his Des Moines position was a little compromised by Noob CV's Kremlin, right? Azuki could not reverse without giving his broadside to Noob CV from the C cap. And then they brought the daring around and used the conga line torps on Azuki to put at least one torpedo into him because he couldn't reverse. He can't go backwards. He's got to kind of find a different way to maneuver. But the Kremlin just punches out Nair, and just like that, FPM is down 2 ships and upside down over 300 points with the game half over.
Yeah, I really don't understand what that was about. The only thing I can think is that it was to keep Azuki spotted somehow. I don't really understand that. That seems like they've just thrown that Salem away.
With the Ohio off the A flank, Addy's Nevsky becomes an incredibly important piece on this side of the board. His radar is going to allow them to push Munan well off the A cap and get lots of good damage into Munan. Munan's not dead yet, but they're continuing to throw shells in that direction. He is burning as he runs north of A.
Yep, there is a heal on that Daring, but of course it's not a very large heal, down to 3-6 and still burning. Very much A currently in the hands of BONKS. Also, of course, the Des Moines of Azuki sitting in B is holding B for them as well, so they do have the points advantage currently, and 3 minutes 30 on the points clock for BONKS.
BONKS doing a great job of managing their health and keeping up their board control.
Yeah, they don't need to actually do anything with C here. They can take these 4 ships over by C and they can just kite them away quite safely.
They can just farm damage and just try not to die. Now to their credit, FPM's put a lot of damage into the Apache's Kremlin. I think that eventually they probably have the time, over 3 minutes on the timer still, to wear him down and pick up that kill, which would get them some points that they really need.
Yeah, and that will enable the Kremlin of Noob CV to turn maybe towards B, start to put a bit of pressure on Azuki. But actually, BONK's doing a pretty good job of chunking the FPM Kremlin down there as well. But Apache, I think, will go down here. 539, shells in the air. That's a miss. Yeah. Heal gets popped.
Speaking of putting pressure on Azuki, Munan and Plan CV's Marceau have been farming him while he's been in the B cap. And yet, Munan under some radar now, trying to get away. We know his heal is on cooldown, or at least it's been used recently, so he's probably got a little bit of time left. They may be able to get him here, as Azuki's going to push all the way through the B cap and find some island cover from Plan CV.
Yep, currently watching Munan here. Keep an eye on the 2 Kremlins in the background as well. Munan, I think, is unspotted. Nope, still spotted.
Apache got a heal off. He got really low, but he's back up over 10k for the moment.
Yeah, Noob CV may actually go down first here.
They got the Shima flit with somebody's face. He's so close to Noob CV. He is. He's less than 5 kilometers away from Noob CV, is Todd Howard's.
Okay, there's a lot going on. Keep an eye, dear viewers, on the minimap, because there's a lot going on at once. That's Kremlin gone down, which is going to save Shima there.
60 seconds on the clock. FPM very much on the back foot, down 3 ships off most of the caps. They own C, but it's just buying. It's not really doing them anything. They need to be on to another cap to slow the bleeding. Word of Warships going out right here. Shell's hunting him.
Yeah, if World of Warships goes down, that's going to make it very, very tight to the game.
They do.
990.
There it is.
That's a couple of ticks.
Wow, BONKS with a solid showing here in Game 2. They absolutely came to play to tell FPM, that always your final ain't happening yet, boys. You got to get through us. Looking good.
Absolutely. So we are going to see a 3rd game in this best-of-3 series versus FPM versus BONKS. So super excited. That, of course, is the streamer's dream, is a 1-1. So very, very happy with that. Well played to both teams. And we will be coming back very shortly for the decider. So back to Chrysantos.